The number one thing that you want to do when you pitch is to be credible. And want to know the greatest statement that will provide credibility to VCs, angels, mid-tier venture capitalists, family offices. I've seen them all. I pitched to them all. I love speaking in high schools and colleges because it reminds me when I used to sit in the back of the room, not pay attention, and then wonder why I wasn't where I wanted to be. One of the things I love about being the chairman of Napoleon Hill Institute, I don't know if anyone here ever read Think and Grow Rich. Do you like it? Outwitting the Devil is another one of my favorite books written by Napoleon Hill. He wrote these books in the 1930s. He's the seminal professional development and personal development leader of all times. Every great thought leader that you know of, from Tony Robbins to Oprah Winfrey, they all study Napoleon Hill. And what Napoleon Hill talks about is a definiteness of purpose. See, 98% of the people won't ever compete with you. They talk about how competitive the world is. 98% of the people live their lives like tubes. Sorry for the graphics. Hopefully you've already eaten dinner, but they live their life, food in, food out. That's how they live their life, drifting through life, wondering why they roll a boulder to the top of the hill every single day, wake up the next morning at the bottom of the hill. And if you want that for your life, then sit at the back of the room and don't pay attention. But if you want to be happy in your life, fulfilled, passionate, purposeful, and profitable, then if you want, move up or at least pay attention. Live your life with a definiteness of purpose. I talk about making and empowering people to be happy. I have 3 things that I teach, and they seem to be of interest to a lot of people. 1, make a lot of money. Anybody interested in making a lot of money? Good. 2, for the sake of helping other people. Anybody want to help other people, your family, your friends, people you don't know? 3, have a lot of fun. And the reason I say that, yeah, me too. I'm a lot of fun. The reason I say that is I've never met anyone who makes a lot of money and helps a lot of people with it and has a lot of fun every day that isn't happy. Not one person. And every one of those people that I know that do those 3 things have one thing in common: a desire that they must be what they can be. They have a definite purpose every day of what they're trying to pursue. And part of making a lot of money is to learn how to pitch. Pitching is simply articulating a value to exceed what you're asking for. Right? If I offered someone, I do actually. Let me see, hold on a second, I'm curious. Yeah, well, anybody have $5? Nobody? I thought a bunch of rich kids went to UCI. Oh, only hundreds, that's all you have? Crypto, I take it? Oh yeah, sorry, you can Zelle me. You have 5, come down here for a second. So the idea of pitching is to be able to articulate a quantitative value. Thank you, come on up here. But to be able to articulate a quantitative value to exceed what we're asking for. And so in its simplest form, what's your name?
Shelby.
Thank you, Shelby. Would you, very nice to meet you. Would you trade me $5 for my 20?
Why?
Would you trade me?
I guess, I mean, okay.
Thank you. Okay, have a seat. Okay, very good. That was an easy way to articulate value to exceed what I was asking for, right? Quantitatively, would you like to trade $20? Can you see any reason any of you wouldn't want to trade $20 for 5? Right? Of course, there's no reason. That's how you pitch. But you have to do it by utilizing these 5 things in order to articulate a value to exceed what you're asking for. Number 1 is the most looked over and most important. I listen literally, anybody ever see Entrepreneur's Elevator Pitch or 2-Minute Drill or Go Fund Yourself? These are all my TV shows, Apple TV, Amazon, Bloomberg, it was on, and they're all pitch shows, funding shows, and everybody forgets about the most important thing in pitching. Anyone want to guess what it is? Yeah. Okay. But how do we do that? That's a good answer, by the way, much better than entrepreneurship. So, and I really appreciate your participation, so keep on doing it. The number 1 thing that you want to do when you pitch is to be credible. And want to know the greatest statement that will provide credibility to VCs, angels, mid-tier venture capitalists, family offices? I've seen them all. I pitched to them all. I've raised hundreds of millions of dollars. I got hired by Lee Steinberg, the most notable sports agent in the world, not because I'm a great lawyer, not because I was a great sports agent, because I understood technology and venture capital. I was a millionaire 9 months out of law school, exited in 1995, sold with Westlaw to Thomson Reuters for $3.4 billion in 1995. I raised hundreds of millions of dollars because of this one thing that I learned to do at a young age. I don't know, but I'll give you the answer. I'll find the answer. Do you know how many times that you get caught overselling, back-end selling, lying, manipulating, and cheating in a pitch, and you immediately create skepticism, and all they hear is, what is the next lie they're telling me? And sometimes we do it inadvertently. So if you're going to pitch, make sure that you go through your pitch with a fine-tooth comb of credibility, to make sure that what you're communicating is true and can't even be misconstrued as overselling, back-end selling, lying, manipulating, and cheating. Because the minute someone feels that you are, they're going to start looking to see what else you're saying is not true. You have lost the benefit of the doubt. Credibility is the number one thing. Integrity, and the best way to prove your integrity is to say, I don't know, but I'm happy to find you the answer. You don't need to exaggerate. You don't need to hide the fact that you're a startup and you're pre-revenue. You don't think angel investors invest in companies that have no revenue? All the time. I do it all the time. So the number one thing in pitching is your credibility. Number two, emotional attachment. One of the reasons I'm a great speaker, I speak all around the world, is because I know nobody ever remembers what I say. They only remember how they feel. And the same thing's true when I pitch. I need you to have an emotional connection to me. And in order to do so, I need to know what you like, don't like, what works, doesn't work, what you know and what you don't know. Because if I can give you more of what you like, more of what's working, more of what you know, or take away what you don't know, what you don't like, or what's not working for you, I'm going to make you feel good. And people bet on the jockeys that make them feel good. It's not about it's about how you make them feel, what the emotional connection is. I've invested in a ton of kids that I didn't particularly like. I didn't want to hang out with them. They were way too smart. Half of them were on the spectrum. But they made me feel confident in their ability. So we need to know how to create those emotional connections by finding out, by being more interested than interesting, finding out what people like, don't know, what works and doesn't work. The third thing you want to do is explain the reasons why their investment is going to not exceed what you're asking for, right? Their investment is going to make them money. You need to know the reasons why. And they need to be credible and emotionally connecting. So you have to be able to say, look, if you give me $5 today, I am going to give you $20 a year from now, 2 years from now, or whenever it is. And you need to explain the reasons why. Reasons why I have an incredible team. The size of the market is this. There's a trend like this. Whatever the reasons you believe are going to create the return on investment that investor desires, or whatever else your pitch is for. It could be just to get your kid to eat broccoli. Sometimes that's worth more than raising $1 million. Just getting a kid to listen to you. But this is all pitching. We share a vision by articulating value to exceed what we're asking for. The fourth one in a pitch is impact. It's not just about making money, it's about helping people, having fun. What impact are you going to have? I was with a company today, and they take trash and 80% compost, 20% plastic, and they create new packaging with it. It has an incredible impact in 18 different countries around the world, besides making a lot of money. And it has none of the detriments of a landfill. They actually put one of their plants right in the middle of a city and nobody even knows. That's how we impact people. The last thing, in a pitch, capabilities, benefits, and features are simply an arsenal. They're not to be dumped. You need to know, even in your pitch deck. Anybody familiar with a pitch deck? Everybody raised? Good. One of the biggest mistakes I see in pitch deck is they're credible, they have emotional connection, they articulate a reason to exceed what they're asking for, they show the impact, but then they just dump a whole bunch of features and benefits and capabilities, and they end up with 50 slides. Capabilities are for the addendum, so you can answer questions. They're an arsenal to provide more value as you learn what people like, don't like, what's working, what doesn't work, what they know and what they don't know. So you can say, can you see any reason you wouldn't want to invest? Would you see any reason you wouldn't want to move forward? These are simple ways to close on your pitch. You need to be credible, emotional connection, reasons, impacts, capabilities are an arsenal to answer questions, not to dump onto people. Do you know why you don't dump features and benefits? Because you're not taking into consideration what people like, don't like, what they know, what they don't know, and you could be creating more and more obstacles, voids, and shortages in your pursuit of that investment or whatever else your objective is when you're pitching. So many people raise issues that I never would even have thought about that talk themselves out of me investment. I've had it tons of times. I'm watching it. I love the entrepreneur. They have a desire that they must be what they can be. They go through, they seem very credible and honest, vulnerable. They're working from integrity. I really like them. They go through the reasons and articulate the value. I'm super excited. They tell me the impact it's going to help millions of people or even billions of people. And then they start dumping all these capabilities. And it does this, and it does this, and it'll tie your shoes. And if you do this, and all of a sudden, I either get confused or they start saying things that make me think maybe I don't want to do this. So we want to be concise about utilizing capabilities to provide more value, not distract from the value. And so one of the things is we're creating this perfect pitch with credibility, emotional attachment, reasons, impacts, and capabilities. And believe me, any of you, everyone today is going to get a free book. I brought books for everyone, right, Nick? Good. Email me. I'll give you my perfect pitch guide. Just email me. You can go through it, and like anything else, it takes practice. Practice every day. People ask me time, Mr. Meltzer, I coach everyone from the executive director of Major League Baseball to the chairman of Gulf Oil to the CEO of Verb, and they'll all ask me, Mr. Meltzer, how do I get better at this? I always have one answer. They pay me a shitload of money to give them this answer. Practice. I practice this every day. I practice interviews. I have one of the top podcasts in the world. If anyone's ever seen The Playbook, check that. I have Entrepreneurs, The Playbook with Entrepreneur Magazine, and The Playbook Sports and Entertainment on SiriusXM. But I practice every single day, 7 days a week. I give a minimum amount of my attention every day, a minimum amount of my intention, what I do, say, think, feel, and believe, because the mathematical equation of luck is what you pay attention to and what you give intention to equal the coincidences in your life, the coinciding of what you desire or better. And yes, you have to seek wisdom to do that, but you also have to have faith as entrepreneurs. And I don't care what religion, spirituality you believe in, or philosophies or theories you believe in. I believe every entrepreneur better have faith. You better have faith in something bigger than you that loves you more than your mom. If you don't have that kind of faith, I promise you, every entrepreneur in the world has no evidence, or the evidence is contrary, that they're ever going to get to where they want to be. Every entrepreneur. I tell every entrepreneur, I don't know how long it's going to take to get you to where you want to be or better, but think of it in terms of it'll take me 1,000 steps. I just don't know how much time it's going to take me to get to the 1,000th step of success, fulfillment, passion, purpose, and profitability. In my case, my first round, it took 3 years. 3 years. Then the next, by the time I was 30, I was worth over $100 million. Then I lost it all, went bankrupt. Then it took me another 18 years to get to 1,000 steps where I stand today, farther than I ever thought I would be. Trust me, when I lost everything, including my mom's house, after being worth over $100 million, I wasn't sitting there saying, oh, I'm so blessed. I'm sure God's protecting me, promoting me, loving and perfecting me. It was my mom that told me to have faith. She told me that it was a protection and promotion. I just didn't understand it. There was no evidence. And the reason for this 1,000-step philosophy is that we don't know how long it's going to take, but I'll tell you what, it'll take 90% of the time to get to 250 steps, not 900 steps. This is human nature and the conflict of perception that stops entrepreneurs from being successful. Because in our minds, we've done this, we've put in 90% of everything we have, and we're only at 250 steps, so we're like, we're never going to get to 1,000 steps. But that's not how it works, right? Things happen very slowly, then all of a sudden. That's why people think you're an overnight success, even though it's been 17 and a half years. Because it took 10 years to get to 250 steps, and then it only took 5 years to get to 500 steps, and then it took 2.5 years to get to 1,000. Because things accelerate, aggregate, and compound. They don't work in equal increments, because behavior, good behavior and bad behavior, it compounds as well. So you don't see the negative or you don't see the positive behavior aggregating, accelerating until all of a sudden it does, and then you feel like, oh, that was overnight. No, it wasn't. You've been doing it for years by not quitting. So looking at this perfect pitch and utilizing AI as your servant, is anybody here afraid of AI? Anybody here afraid of losing a job because of AI? Whether you think it's so or it's not, either way you're right. I see AI as your servant. I see AI as an essential, it's one of the 3 essential things that young people should learn and practice every day. I was really excited when Ryan said read, because that's the number 2 thing on my list. Why is reading so important? Because reading helps you determine and develop your imagination. And never before is it more important to develop your imagination for 2 reasons. One, you will never overachieve your own self-image created by your imagination. You will never overachieve your own self-image created by your imagination. So actually, by reading, you're developing your imagination, developing your self-image, you're expanding how much you can exceed and achieve in your life. But 2, it also helps you determine what's real. And I think understanding AI, we start understanding why reading is so important, because if I have a very strong imagination, I also have a very strong sense of what's real. And those people in business and entrepreneurship that can determine fake from real are going to do exceptionally well. So we want to read books. We want to practice AI. Practice AI. AI's biggest value to me as a servant is 0 to 1. We're going to have a question session here in a little bit, and I'm going to say, who here has a question for me? And most of you will sit there without raising your hand. And then the first question takes forever, 0 to 1. But then once one person asks a question, another person asks a question, another person asks a question, and then I'm going to have to go because my wife's in the back, and I'm going to have to go home, and 6 kids are going to follow me. I'll go, oh, Mr. Meltzer, I just have a question. But it took me 10 minutes to get one question. 0 to 1 takes longer than 1 to 100. Due diligence, research. I mean, I am flabbergasted by the power of simple AI and LLMs. I mean, the stuff that I can do already would take me, like writing books, would take me years, and it takes me minutes to get the hardest part of writing a book done. The outline, all the different, and it got to know me so well. You know, I can do my prompts as just as if I'm David Meltzer, speaker, author, entrepreneur, legendary sports executive, idiot, whatever I want to say, and then I can add a twist and throw in Einstein. Throw in Dr. Wayne Dyer, throw in Bob Proctor, throw in Tony Robbins, throw in whoever it is, Gandhi, whatever flavor I want to give Dave Meltzer. So it would take me so long to do what I can do. So you want to practice AI, you want to read. Anyone who want to guess the third thing in this utilizing AI as your servant and creating a perfect pitch? I think this is going to help you be more successful than anything else, and it's applicable to pitching. Anybody have an idea what you should be practicing? Cold calling. If I could get my own kids, I have 4 children, 26, 24, 21, and a 15-year-old son. If I could, and I guarantee this for any of you, and don't quit college over this, but if you quit today, it would make you more successful in the next year. If anyone dedicated their life to knocking on 150 doors, selling anything a day for 365 straight days, guarantee you'll be a multimillionaire. There's no way I could train you what you would learn. There's no way you would develop this unbelievable capability. But those that knock on doors, virtually, in person, whatever, I promise you, especially in the future, you will stand out. You will be sought after, probably more than electricians, maybe, or plumbers. I'm not sure where AI or robots are going to take those 2 professions. But if you want to make money, those are 2 good things to learn how to do, I promise you. But knock on doors. Because we have such accessibility today, right? When I was young, I literally had, when I started out of law school selling, I sold legal research online when everyone thought the internet was a fad. When Justice Scalia, Supreme Court Justice, literally told me, nobody will ever do research on a computer, you need books. This is how people are afraid of technology for years, generation. People were afraid of the gas lamp. True. Cotton gin, afraid of that. The wheel, they were afraid of that. But all they did was make humans more human. They make good humans better humans, and they make bad humans worse humans. They make humans more human. And so I want you to think about, I want to be an expert at getting people to get back at me. Think about the easiest way to be a success. If you want to pitch people, if you're not pitching anyone, you're not going to be successful, no matter how much you practice. But if you get more people to get back to you and listen to your pitch, you're going to be more statistically successful. If you double the amount of people that you pitch, you'll be twice as successful. You triple the amount of people you pitch, you'll be triple as successful. But you'll actually be exponentially more successful. Why? Because you'll be practicing more, and practice is what creates better behavior. So get people to get back to you. Email you back, phone you back, DM you back, whatever it is, practice getting people, knock on doors to get back to you. Stimulate interest. Don't leave and sell people on machines and emails, and just get them to get back to you. So you can be credible, emotionally attached, articulate the value for reasons, impacts, and use your arsenal capabilities to convince them and articulate value to exceed what you're asking for. You will be so rich, help so many people, and have so much fun in your life. Freedom. Anyone want to be free? You know what freedom is to me? And I've finally been able to achieve it in my life. I do what I want, when I want, with who I want, for as long as I want. My assets create more income than my expenses. So I can do what I want, when I want, with who I want, for as long as I want. Do you know how freeing that is? It doesn't matter what that number is. If you can afford to do that, you're free. That's what the capability of AI and learning how to pitch will give you. Being able to create change and impact, not just economic change, but social change. People thought I was crazy when I told them I'm going to empower over 1 billion people to be happy, to make a lot of money, help a lot of people, and have a lot of fun. I was almost embarrassed to tell my wife when I was called to do this. And then I just thought about, well, how can I do it? Well, I know, number one, every single business opportunity, every single thing that I did in my life, people laughed at me, scoffed at me, and made fun of me. And then when I did it, they applauded me, asked me for a job or a loan, and told me, oh, I always knew you could do it. That's the way it works. But you can do everything that you desire. Everything that you desire. You just have to do the work. So AI will allow us to get people to get back to us, but they also, in selling, will allow us to handle more people. Now, I can honestly tell you it's moving so quickly. I don't know all of the capabilities that AI can be utilized in a pitch, but I do know it's going to allow me to find more people to pitch that are aligned with what I'm selling, industry, career, and job. So what are we trying to do? We're trying to align the skills, knowledge, and desires that we have with industries, careers, and jobs. The skills, knowledge, and desire that we have, the capabilities that you have, product, service, solution, or personal brand, in order to align with what's doing well, what's stable, or what you think is doing well. That's it. So if you're creating a business, I got a really good pitch from my friend. It was what are they called, a pitchuation. We were thinking about doing a new, golf cart pitch. Yeah, golf cart pitch. Yeah, it's like a car karaoke. We're going to do golf cart pitching. I'm going to grab a young entrepreneur and put him in my golf cart, and he'll have one hole to pitch me, and I'll pick up another entrepreneur at the next golf hole. We'll get 18 pitches. Come back, we'll do that around Ring Road. Yeah, right on. Would you guys be down for that? I would be. Basically wait along Ring Road and get your chance to jump in the cart? Hell yeah. All right, as long as you let me film it, I'll do it. Yeah. I'll definitely do that. But in that pitch, he took his time and he had an opportunity to what? Stimulate my interest. That's getting me to want to know more. So there's 5 steps of fruition in after you pitch. 1, you stimulate interest with a pitch. 2, the arsenal of capabilities should be there to transition that interest. So I piqued your interest, I'm done. Now I'm going to send you some collateral or some information or answer questions to transition that interest so I have an opportunity to share my vision. Now I have to be able to articulate the value to exceed what I'm asking for. Most people, if I told you today, who's raising money? Anyone here raising money for a company or wants to raise money? If I told you yes tonight, let's say that I gave you 2 minutes to pitch you and I said, yes, I'd like to move forward. What percentage do you think that you're going to get my money because I said, yes, I want to move forward?
30%.
Pardon? 30%. Any other guess? 100%? Any guess for you?
Whatever you want.
Whatever I want. On average, it's about 20%. When people give you a verbal yes, written yes, verbal yet, even a yes that has consideration, which means payment, on average, 20% of those deals get done. Why is that? Because time, emotion, and value change instantly when we have a verbal, implied, written, or with consideration yes. Time, emotion, and value changes instantly. So if you don't have a go, no-go plan in order to stay aligned with the time, value, and emotion, you're going to end up chasing windmills, wasting your time, because people do not like to say, I changed my mind, or no. So I've created for me a 3-no rule to help out. So if somebody makes a commitment to me in any way, I create a go, no-go plan. Terrific. You say yes, next step is we'll talk on Friday, get the paperwork done, or we'll meet for coffee, whatever it is. And if that doesn't happen, if it gets rescheduled, that's 1 no. And if the second thing doesn't happen, that's 2 no. And on the 3rd no, I always have this same line. You might want to write this down. Obviously, this isn't the right time. When it is, let me know. I'm going to repeat that. Obviously, this isn't the right time. When it is, let me know. And I'm going to tell you, it's really hard to say it sometimes, especially when someone's already said yes, especially when what they said yes to is going to change my life, or it's what I've been hoping for, dreaming for. But the best thing you can say after 3 no's is obviously this isn't the right time, and when it is, let me know. Because 2 things happen. 1, it's going to accelerate the person that does want to get it done, but time, emotion, or value has changed. Their dog died. They literally had a flat tire. Something happened in their life, but they really want to do it. And all it will do by saying that is accelerate them to get it done. About 50% of the time. I'm not a big statistics guy. My favorite statistic in the world is 99% of all statistics are made up. That one I think is true. Or 100% of the things you do now get done. For all you procrastinators out there, I'm going to repeat that. 100% of the things you do now get done. So all the people that said 0, you're procrastinating. You're not going to get it done. The 9, you're getting it done. The 3-no rule. So the other 50% of the time is more valuable than the acceleration of a yes. Anybody guess what that is? You're giving someone permission to say no. I've spent so much of my career chasing people that are never going to say yes because they said yes initially. I mean, literally, 3 months later, I'm still calling. And then I'm asking people, is it too, you think I'm bothering them? What are you talking about bothering them? The guy said he wanted to do it. It's 3 months later. He's not going to do it. He hasn't called you back in 3 months. Right? I remember with applications to law school, and I haven't heard from jobs, especially, right? I applied to law firms when I was graduating law school and never heard back. And it's like, should I call them? No, I should have called them and said, obviously it's not the right time. If you are interested in giving me an interview, let me know. I would have accelerated those people that were interested in interviewing me, and then they never heard from the other people. Do you know how much time you save by never hearing from the people that are never going to give you a yes, but are too afraid to tell you no, or they change their mind? This could be the most valuable thing or advice that I could give you. So utilize the 3-no rule in order to either accelerate the yes or get rid of all the people who are never going to do it with you.